Yeah, but I mean, look, if you look at her track record, even when she was Home Secretary, I mean, jeepers, she's been very good at being hoodwinked all through her career, then it seems in the recent past, because she certainly sort of makes grandiose commitments and never really seems to follow up with them. And that's the worst part about about Theresa. And one last point I just want to make is I overheard someone saying earlier that they were juxtaposing the leaders and saying that Jacob Rees-Mogg is someone who fights for the elites and all the rest of it. But we know he's front and centre, a posh bloke from Eton, and you run a very successful hedge fund and all the rest of it. But one of the things they said was that he set up a shop and he set up an office in Ireland, and therefore it's quite clear he's being duplicitous and all that. And actually, what they didn't realise was that actually, when you have a hedge fund or any asset management shop, you're working on behalf of your investors, and therefore, if they want to be able to access products and investment opportunities in Europe, then you need to facilitate that. Whether it's Europe, America, you might have to set up an office there, etc. So that's just a little side point. I think Jacob has been very sort of forthright, and actually, I'd like to see him sort of dissent, but obviously he's ruled himself out in your interview.
He did, and I doubt whether he'd go back on that. If he did, I think, a little bit of us would die, because I think whether you agree with his politics or not, he is actually straight talking and does mean what he says, I think. Sam, thank you very much. Mr. Singh has a profound tweet. He says it's not about the quality of the negotiators, it's about your size. Size matters. Sorry. No need to apologise about your size, Mr. Singh. It's 8:16.
This is LBC. Glasses for dogs, an alarm clock on wheels, a fork and knife rolled into one. Surprisingly, all successful business ideas. Office Outlet is obsessed with supporting businesses and has everything you need to start and grow your idea. And if you enter the Office Outlet Big Ideas Fund competition, you could win 6 months office space, one-to-one mentoring, £5,000 cash, and more. To apply, visit officeoutletbif.com. Office Outlet Big Ideas Fund. Create something special.
Being from the olden days, Royal London believed that if you've got a bit of wealth, it's best to share it out. Or you might get a mutiny on your hands. That's why they do a thing called profit share. After a good year, they share part of their profits with their eligible customers.
Oh, that's pretty decent.
Ask a financial advisor about Royal London profit share.
You could get that less than you paid in. Applicable to eligible customer plans provided by the Royal London Mutual Insurance Society Limited, beginning on or after the 1st of July 2001. Exclusions and conditions apply. Award not guaranteed, reviewed annually.
This is the sound of the changing of the guard. Buckingham Palace, London. Only a left away from a Holiday Inn hotel. What are you doing this weekend? It all begins at holidayinn.com.
It's Christmas dinner, and they're off. Nan's out the chair, racing for pigs in blankets. Dad makes a beeline for the spots. Oh no, heartburn has struck. Dad's down, he's suffering. Then pinching things off his plate. Savage. Hold on, he's got Gaviscon. And yes, he's trying the turkey. He's back in the game. Don't miss out on Christmas dinner. Nothing gets to work faster than the nation's favourite heartburn and indigestion brand. Gaviscon Double Action. Based on sales data, always read the label.
At this time of year, there's always one person who's difficult to buy for. That person who seems to have everything. If you're looking for something truly unique this Christmas, then Weber has the gift for you. The Weber iGrill. The thermometer that ensures you serve perfectly cooked food every time. The iGrill connects to an app on your smartphone. Simply tell it what you're cooking, how you'd like it cooked, and the iGrill will tell you when your food is ready. Serving excellent food has never been easier. Find your perfect gift at Weber.com.
Leading Britain's conversation. Ian Dale. Tweet at LBC.
90 minutes past 8. Let's just update you on the breaking news from Strasbourg, where shots have been fired near a Christmas market. One person is reported dead, 6 injured. The gunman is on the run, according to French police sources. And the French Interior Ministry have called on the public to remain indoors in Strasbourg. We're going to get more on this after the half-past news. We'll be returning to our reporter in Paris and also speaking to a British politician who's apparently been an eyewitness. Let's go back to your calls on Brexit. Sharon is phoning in from the beast of the Brussels belly. Sharon, what would you like to say?
Hello, it's not too murky down here.
I actually meant to say the belly of the Brussels beast, but I got my words all mixed up. It's been one of those days. Sharon, what's your view?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the preparation for a no-deal Brexit, because basically business has been told you need to prepare for a no-deal Brexit. And, that is a lot of red tape. It's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of costs that are having to be taken on board. And, all of that is going to pass on because business passes on its extra costs. So, when Boris Johnson talks about going for a Canada Plus deal, I sometimes wonder whether it isn't rather a red tape plus deal, because at the moment we have free trade between the EU and the UK, and once we Brexit, we won't have free trade.
Well, we won't unless there's a free trade agreement negotiated within a couple of years. Now, as you say, we already have a free trade agreement with the EU, so do you not think that it is possible to effectively use that as the template, and then the EU says, well, these are the bits that we don't want to allow you after the 2-year transitional period is up? This is assuming that there is a transitional period, of course, and then we negotiate along those lines. Now I think that's what Leah Fox and David Davis meant when they said, well, a free trade deal should be very easy to negotiate. Now, the truth is nothing is easy to negotiate with the EU, is it?
No, it's true that nothing's easy to negotiate with the EU, which is why they're such strong negotiators, and which is why it's better to be part of the EU than outside of the EU.
Well, we should just accede to their bullying, you mean?
No. The main thing that I want to say about, well, what is different and why we wouldn't have free trade. What is different is that if we leave the EU, we leave the EU. That means that we become, in EU terminology, a third country. That means that we're outside of the customs area, which means that we have to then go through customs controls and customs procedures. So, and all that costs money, and it costs time, and it's red tape for companies that have to deal with it.
Those customs controls and procedures are only as complicated as any particular country wants to make them. We all know that in various border crossings, people just wave through automatically, and there are just random spot checks. We know that in ports like Rotterdam and Dublin, big ports that take in goods from outside the EU, there are cursory checks on about 1% of the items that come in, and even those checks are not always conducted at the port. They're conducted at the receiving company sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's for the physical checks. But 100% of those goods moving into Rotterdam will have had to fill out forms, or it's electronic these days. A lot of it's electronic these days. But they will have had to go through customs procedures in order to make sure that the good goes through without any problem.
But there are also...
Whereas today, if you export from the UK to the EU, you don't have to do that. It just goes.
It may do, but there is still paperwork involved. It's not you don't just send things without any paperwork at all. And as you say, a lot of it's automated anyway.
Yeah, but the EU has a system, and I agree, it's not the best, greatest system in the world. But no customs systems are, unfortunately. But much as we and the business community is constantly discussing with the EU how to try and make the systems better, quicker to get through and rest of it, and it improves over time. Those systems are the systems that we have at the moment, and the EU can't just suddenly change it just because the UK is suddenly going to be outside.
Do you actually?
It would be part of the whole process of constantly trying to improve the systems.
Do you actually live in Brussels?
Yes, I do.
When you talk to your Belgian friends about Brexit? What do they say? Have you found a Belgian Brexiteer?
I haven't actually. No. I think most of them look on and they look at the theatrics in the Houses of Parliament and say, "What are you all doing? Why are you doing this?" They can't believe it, really. I mean, they just find it incredible. And of course, those that are doing business and have to, a lot of Belgian companies do business with the UK.
That's a major export.
And they're quite worried about what's going to happen when they have to start filling in, UK customs stuff.
Sharon, thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Paul in Manchester. Paul, what would you like to tell me?
Good evening, Ian. How are you? Okay.
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. What I was going to say tonight was, if it's a sort of an open forum, I just wanted to get your take, and also obviously the listeners, on what they think. I'll give you my view on what I think is one of the reasons why this whole Brexit process, the shenanigans, has been made much more complex than it actually is supposed to be. Is because when the Brexit is a success, and we stride out into a new Commonwealth, when it happens, the European countries that are still trapped inside the bloc are going to go, wow, we want some of that, and then of course they will start to lobby their MPs and parliaments. They'll want more of the same. I just get the feeling they want to make it an absolute pig's ear dog's dinner, because when Britain succeeds and creates a fantastic new opportunity for itself, it's falling apart. It's going to fall apart that much more, quicker when Italy, Hungary, Sweden, hopefully, other countries will start to say, well, we want FTAs as well. I just think that's the way. That's why they want to make it.
You are, of course, assuming that we leave on a no-deal basis and that we are capable of doing our own free trade agreements. But of course, at the moment, under Theresa May's deal, that would not be the case, because we would still be very closely aligned with the EU, and there will be many countries that say, well, if you're doing that, we can't do a proper free trade agreement with you.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, of course. That's just why we don't want that. We want to have the no deal that the people voted for, which was leave, and the government will implement the decision, rather than trying to conflate this whole trade thing into the sovereignty aspect of making our own decisions again, finally, since before we were hoodwinked in with Heath, and who managed to somehow get this whole political, evolution of this EEC into the EU, this whole thing that nobody voted for. We didn't get a second chance 2 years later to say, hold on a minute.
Well, we can blame Ted Heath for a lot of things, but it wasn't him that transformed this into the EU. John Major's government agreed to that at the Treaty of Maastricht. Thank you very much, Paul. A couple of you making quite a valid point here, saying, well, we don't have a free trade deal at all with the EU. John in Wales says it costs our country around 12 billion net. That's not free. Anne on Twitter says, actually, and it's not free trade, it costs us £50 million a day. Chris is in Trowbridge. Chris, what would you like to say?
Hi, lovely to talk to you. I think with regards to the party leaders, you were saying, could Jeremy Corbyn negotiate a better deal? I think because Brexit effectively transcends party politics, I don't think any party leader as such would be able to negotiate a deal that would please everybody, or be able to command a majority in Parliament. In a way, Parliament actually really is really representative of the country at the moment, because obviously the country's split, Parliament is split into different factions. You've got those in favour of May's deal, those in favour of crushing out, those in favour of Norway, and obviously those in favour of Remain. So the only way out of this is going to be another referendum.
Oh dear. I thought that's where you were heading. I mean, do you know that I love elections and referendums and all the rest of it, because I get to do 7 hours overnight on this radio station, and I love doing those programmes. But I have to say, if there were to be another referendum, and I still don't believe there will be, but if there is, a little bit of me would think I want nothing to do with this, because it's not an exercise in democracy. It is the exercise of the political and media classes within the M25 trying to impose their will on the rest of the country, and that's not democracy.
I don't really understand that argument at all, because I mean, you can't. So your argument is that another referendum, another democratic vote would thwart the will of the people.
No, I'm quite happy to have another. I'm quite happy to have another referendum on this subject in 2059.
That's a completely arbitrary.
Well, it's not.
I mean,
It's not arbitrary at all. The first referendum was in 1975. The second referendum was 43 years after that, in 2016. And the third referendum can then be 43 years after that, in 2059.
Why? I mean, you don't get to decide when the next referendum is.
No, but we don't in this country have biennial or biannual, I can't remember, but we can't have constitutional referendums every 2 years on the same subject, because how can you govern a country like that? How can you...
Ian, we weren't supposed to have a general election for another 5 years. Theresa May...
Completely different.
But we are where we are here. This is an...
We are indeed.
And the only way out of this was started through an ill-informed and a ridiculous decision by Cameron to call a referendum. The only way we're going to be able to break this democratically, fairly, is through another referendum, because Parliament are split. Now, if Parliament comes down on any one of those four options that I said, by definition, it is then going to alienate the supporters.
But of course, if the result is, say, 51-49 to Remain, of course, then Remainers will say, well, we can't possibly have another referendum, it's settled now. And of course, Brexiteers will say, hang on a minute, you had another referendum, let's make it best of three.
But maybe you'll have to let the democratic process play out. I mean,
that's what we're doing now.
Exactly. And I would argue that the democratic process is going to play out to a point where there has to be a referendum. It has to go back to the people to decide. Now, if it comes down really close again, and it's time to Remain, then the democratic process will have to play out again, and people will vote for a party. This is going to be around for a generation, regardless of what happens. Nothing that happens next year is going to settle this.
Well, up to a point. I think if we do actually leave on the 29th of March, and I firmly hope that we do, and whether it's with a deal or without a deal, that kind of is almost the end game, because there's no point in having a referendum after that, because it wouldn't achieve anything. Chris, thank you very much indeed. A couple of tweets here about the 48 letters. Robert Peston, ITV News political editor, he said, I said on the news this evening that predicting when Theresa May goes is a mug's game. But someone I actually trust in all of this tells me the 48 letters threshold for no confidence vote in her by Tory MPs has been passed. Might be wrong, and I might be a prize mug, but I thought I should mention. Pippa Crerar, the deputy political editor at The Guardian. I know we've marched up this hill before, but I've now been told by two solid Tory sources, crucially neither of them usual suspects, that the 48 letters have been reached. Ultimately, we'll have to wait for Sir Graham Brady in the morning. Well, I'd quite like him to do it in the next 90 minutes on this show, if you don't mind, Sir Graham. I feel weird saying Sir Graham, bearing in mind that he worked for me about 25 years ago. But there we go. Keep your calls coming. We are also going to get an update on this shooting in Strasbourg in just a moment. It's 8:33 on LBC. Chris Goals has the news headlines.
Theresa May is insisting other EU leaders have a shared determination to address MPs' concerns about her Brexit deal. She's on a European tour after cancelling a vote on her agreement because of worries about the issue of the Irish border. But the EU is still insisting there's no room for further negotiations. There's also renewed speculation about the Prime Minister's future. Some Conservatives have suggested they could be close to the 48 letters they need to challenge her leadership. Shots have been fired near a Christmas market in the French city of Strasbourg. There are reports that one person has been killed and several have been injured. French police sources say that the gunman is still on the run. It's thought the European Parliament, which is about 2 miles from the centre of Strasbourg, is now on lockdown. Do stay with LBC for the latest. And Donald Trump is threatening to shut down the US government if the Democrats don't vote in favour of his border wall. The US president says he needs $5 billion, and if he doesn't get it, he'll be proud to take such action. LBC weather, heavy rain spreading into the west and Wales tonight, cloudy elsewhere with some frost over eastern parts, a low of 4 degrees.
Being homeless is devastating at any time of the year, but it can be particularly hard at Christmas. This week, together with homeless charity Crisis, LBC will be looking into homelessness in Britain. What are the harsh realities, the dangers and the stigmas? That's all this week with Crisis and LBC.
This is LBC. Are you 65 or over? More flu vaccine is available now at NHS, GP surgeries and pharmacies. So speak to them if you've not had it yet, and make sure you get your free flu jab. Cold weather can make you more likely to catch a winter illness that could become very serious. So if you start to feel unwell, even if it's just a cough or a cold, get help from your pharmacist before it gets more serious. Help us help you stay well this winter.
It's time. Time to join the millions of people that meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. With stunning HD video, crisp audio, and instant wireless sharing across any mobile, tablet, or desktop device. But the best thing about Zoom? It just works. So ditch the distractions, join the movement, and meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. Visit zoom.us to set up your free account today. That's zoom.us. Zoom video conferencing.
The office printer. It always seems to fail when you need it most. Let's push that 10:30 meeting back. With the American Express Gold Business Card, you can earn membership rewards points on your everyday business expenses. It could all add up to you treating the office to a brand new bells and whistles printer. The powerful backing of American Express. Don't do business without it. Search Amex Business Cards.
Terms and conditions apply. Your first year's on your card fee is on us. £125 thereafter, subject to approval.
Working at a 24-hour BP, you see some pretty strange things. Well, last Sunday night, this guy comes in to fill up his car. He sees our buy one, get one free on Coke and Doritos. Buys 2 Cokes and all the Doritos. Took him 2 trips to his car. Must have been having a snack attack.
With great deals on Coke, Doritos and batteries, plus 10p off per litre when you spend £20 in store, it's surprising what you'll find at BP M&S this Christmas. Subject to availability while stocks last. Offer ends 3rd of January 2019. Participating service stations only. Terms and conditions apply. See bp.com for details.
This Christmas, Branston is the difference between a cheese board and a cheese board. Any crumbly cracker will do, and a thick wedge of creamy cheddar is perfectly fine. But the secret to unlocking its full flavour potential is that sweet pillow of Branston chutney. Caramelised onion, orchard fruit or Mediterranean tomato. Please the cheese this Christmas with Branston chutney. Go on, add some to your shopping list now. Bring out the Branston.
Ian Dale on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It's 8:37. We'll come back to your calls on Brexit in just a moment, but let's get more on this shooting in Strasbourg. A gunman is on the run after one person was killed and 9 injured. The French Interior Ministry has called on the public to remain indoors in Strasbourg. Let's talk to Oliver Miocic, LBC's France correspondent, who's covering this story for us. Oliver, thank you very much for joining us again. What's the latest?
So the latest that we have now been told is that the Interior Minister, Christophe Castaner, is watching developments from the Interior Ministry, from some sort of awareness room that they've got there. He has put out an alert on Twitter telling people that they have to stay indoors. The mayor of Strasbourg has said that this shooter has not been found yet, so they have closed down the transport systems within the city. We're hearing reports that there is 1 person dead and so far up to 6 people injured, but we're getting a lot of conflicting information coming through regarding those numbers, so we do just have to be a little bit cautious. Now, according to some police sources, several shots were fired, and we're just seeing now that there could be an operation underway, maybe about 20 kilometres away from Rue Kleber, that central square in Strasbourg. We're getting reports that there's been shots fired.
Okay, Oliver, we might come back to you a little bit later if there are more developments. Thank you very much. That's Oliver Miocic, LBC's France correspondent. Right, let's go back to your calls on Brexit. David is in Uxbridge. David, what's your view?
Yeah, hi. At that point, maybe more retrospective, one of the reasons I think Brexit is sort of breaking down and is failing is the people that the strongest advocates have been quite, they've been on this sort of right wing, like ultra free market type, low tax, low regulation, and their narrative is they want, they see envisage the old Commonwealth of the bike countries, so they're just sort of.
What do you put Kate Hoey in this category, do you?
No. I'm talking more about the Rees-Moggs, the Johnsons, the Rabs,
Can Can you give me a quote where any of them have said any of the things that you've accused them of?
No, but they want
I didn't think so.
No, they want to make the case for the old kind of empire. Anyway, but they're the ones. What I'd like to say is they've been the vocal ones in the media, and I think.
Well, if you're going to say anything more, can you make it a little bit more accurate than the absolutely ridiculous things you've come out with so far?
Right, because they certainly both. They're certainly all staunch advocates of free market, no tax.
Is that a crime?
No, it's not a crime, but these policies are highly detrimental to ordinary working people.
Not at all. They provided huge opportunities for ordinary working people.
No, they don't. They enrich investors and the asset-owning class against the interests of working people. And I think there is the point I'd like to make here is there is a sort of progressive case for Brexit, but I think because it's been dominated by these sort of people, then I think it has alienated a lot of people. And I think now, it feels like chances of a good Brexit deal are quite limited.
The thing is, what I don't understand with the argument that you've put forward there is essentially that anybody who is a right-of-centre conservative who wants Brexit wants to effectively stuff working people and diminish their working rights and all the employment rights and all the rest of it. The thing is, in this country, in every aspect of employment law, British workers have rights that far exceed those guaranteed by the European Union. And I don't know a single Conservative supporter of Brexit who's ever said that they want to change that. And yet you believe that because they believe in free markets, they would therefore automatically want to reduce employment rights.
Well, you just have to look at the state of the British economy. It's the most unequal in Europe. It's got the lowest growth. It's got 14 million people living in poverty. It's got 4 million children living in poverty. It's got a highly skewed city of London where investment goes into assets rather than productive activity. It sucks wealth into it away from the productive sector. Britain, Ian, it's a rentier economy, and that means that you get huge wealth inequalities, you get financial instability. You look at the financial crash. Why did it hit Britain more? Because we're the kind of the money laundering capital for the productivity of others, and I think Brexit gives good potential if it's more progressive. Britain the power to put capital controls on and invest in our, invest in these towns, the deindustrialised.
Why do you think that Jeremy Corbyn has always been in favour of coming out of the European Union?
Well, probably because some of the arguments that I'm making, but I think he is tied by a lot of the Labour Party is very pro-Remain. The parliamentary party at least, and I think a lot of more progressive people, I would say, have been alienated to Brexit because it has been, there has been that kind of xenophobic, anti-immigrant, sort of nationalistic people that have led Brexit, which is a shame, really. And now I feel that I don't think.
Do you know what? I mean, if you really, you're accusing Dominic Raab, Boris Johnson, David Davis, Jacob Rees-Mogg of being xenophobic and racist now, are you?
Well, I think they're not directly so, but I do...
Well, that must be a relief to them.
Well, sure, but I do think they're controlled by corporate interests. Dominic Raab, he is linked to the Institute of Economic Affairs.
Oh, what a crime! What an absolute... Do you know, I've actually made speeches at the Institute of Economic Affairs.
Okay.
So I'm sure you don't want to listen to my programme anymore after that revelation, I'm sure.
I've got nothing wrong with the Institute of Economic Affairs here. But they could be transparent about their funding. Why are they allegedly funded by American corporations and they're not transparent about their funding? They're on your show, they're on the BBC and they're on ITV, but they're not being,
And I have asked them about that question, but you'd have to listen back to find out what their answer was. David, thank you very much. Let's cross to Strasbourg. Richard Ashworth is an independent MEP for South East England, and he witnessed what happened this evening. Richard, very good evening. Sounds like a terrifying event.
It is. I have to stress
I had just walked through the West there. I didn't hear or see anything because I just walked into a major department store or gallery area. But I was only there for a couple of minutes. When I turned around to go out, I was told you can't go by security, and immediately the iron shutters came down on the building. Everybody here was locked in. That was that's about 2.5 hours ago now. We remain locked in the department store, as indeed people are in restaurants and other shops throughout the town. And here reports of a fatality and 9 people injured, I think, so far. Well, Richard, stay safe. Thank you very much for talking to us. That's Richard Ashworth. He's in a department store in Strasbourg. It's basically in lockdown. We'll come back to that story a little bit later if we get any further developments. More developments in Westminster, though. This one looks very interesting. Laura Koonsberg, the BBC political editor, hearing that Sir Graham Brady has asked to see the Prime Minister after PMQs tomorrow, and multiple sources, including senior Tories and a Cabinet Minister, telling us tonight they believe the threshold of 48 letters has been reached. Very unlikely to be any confirmation until tomorrow. My instinct tells me that Laura Koonsberg is absolutely on the ball. She would not tweet something like that unless she was absolutely sure of her sources. So we might take some calls on that after 9 as well. But keep your calls on Brexit coming. 0345 6060 973. Graham says, did you pay David to come on to give us a bit of comic relief? Ian, well, we like to oblige, don't we? It's 8:47.
Eddie Mayer, weekdays from 4 p.m. on LBC.
If your analysis is right, this is a government in disarray, a Prime Minister who's lost the confidence of the House. What on earth are you waiting for?
It's going to happen, Eddie.
Well, so it's Christmas.
The vote of confidence will probably come before Santa does, if I can put it that way.
Well, we're narrowing it down. Now we just have to pin you down to a date.
Further there than I was intending to, so well.
Well, that's my job, isn't it?
Eddie Mayer, weekdays from 4 p.m.
With which impartial advice, investigations and reviews. Keep questioning.
LBC.
Norman Baker, you did on Christmas morning show true courage. Stepping forward to peel in the face of overwhelming sprouts. Battling that vegetable mountain with nothing more than a tiny little knife. So we say, someone deserves a bells.
For the facts, visit drinkaware.co.uk.
Wrapping up warm and setting off for a good country walk. Winter is the perfect time for creating great stories. So start yours with Cotswold Outdoor. Right now, you can save up to £50 on selected jackets. Discover everything you need for your winter adventure with up to £50 off jackets from the best brands, including Berghaus, the North Face, and Mountain Equipment. Cotswold Outdoor. Find your local store at cotswoldoutdoor.com.
Life is about sharing those magical moments, and food shouldn't be any different. For over 35 years, Marouche has been perfecting this experience with their delicious food, warm hospitality, and live entertainment. Authentic Lebanese cuisine made the traditional way. Marouche, your family restaurant. Book now at marouche.com.
I was really happy to have my wife at home as she wanted to be for her last days, but
It was a struggle, especially at night. I didn't sleep until the Marie Curie nurses came. They didn't just take care of her, they cared for the family too. They even had a cup of tea ready for me in the morning. It meant I could get proper rest so Brenda and I could enjoy our time together. We've been married 49 years.
The right care means everything to families living with a terminal illness. With your support, Marie Curie nurses can be there for more families like Brenda's. Search Marie Curie to learn more.
Ian Dale on LBC.
It's 11 minutes to 9. Everyone is now reporting that Graham Brady, the head of the 1922 committee, is going to see the Prime Minister tomorrow to tell her that he's got 48 letters. Now, that hasn't been confirmed by anyone, but all of my sources that I'm looking at, it's predominantly political journalists on Twitter. I don't think they would have gone out on a limb on this if they weren't absolutely sure, because we have been down this road before, haven't we? And I think it's very important that people only report when they're convinced that this is the case. So, we're going to turn to that at 9 o'clock. I want to know, just imagine you're a Conservative MP. I'd love David in Uxbridge to imagine that he's a Conservative MP. How would you vote in a vote of confidence on Theresa May? But let's continue with Brexit for the moment. James is in Pinner. Hello, James.
Yes, hello, Ian. Good evening.
Hi, what would you like to say?
The thing that made me call you was the conversation you had with Sharon, who was in the Valley of the Beast in Brussels, around the various things that were going on there. And let me just confirm one thing that she said, which I've also heard quite independently. I was at a Chatham House session in the City of London with a number of the fund managers and lawyers that support that whole piece in the city, and it was said there that they'd been told quite some time ago that people need to prepare for a no deal. And so if you hear these things being said, we're not ready, we are ready. And what was said there is that people are ready for a no deal. And in the cases of the financial fund managers and the rest, as you will probably know, what they've done is they've taken various branches that they've got sitting in Europe, primarily in Ireland, I have to say, and it's mainly because of the language, and they've just going to change the status of those subsidiaries. Very little in terms of changes of staffing levels, but just by changing the status enables them to do what they need to do to get through the passporting stuff and things that are going on. That wasn't what I wanted to say, but I just thought...
Well, you've done it very well.
Well, that's just to build on what she said, because she was saying that what she knows in terms of manufacturing is that they've been told to prepare for a no deal as well. So there is a lot more there that's being said, because I think there's a spin going on here around the fact that we're not ready, and that's one of the reasons why they're trying to downplay the no deal scenario. The point she was making was this whole point about this additional level of red tape that goes on around imports, and actually she's probably not that close to it, because what you need to appreciate, I'm sure you do, is that there's a whole series of information that has to go with any amount of shipping as it is, because
exactly.
you need...
Well, that was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, you need it for insurance, and you need it, and just pure manifests on these things. If you go to something like car manufacturing, they use a system called Enterprise Resource Planning, which is an exploded bill of materials, every bit on a car. Now that's all computerized, and if that was going to be subject to being shipped across borders and subject to these sorts of tariff barriers, all that ends up happening is that each of those components are codified once for a tariff level, so it just run off that schedule. That's all that happens, and then every time you produce a bill of lading, or you produce a manifest, those things are all done automatically. But I don't know whether you know as well, one of the suggestions that's being made for WTO for ourselves is that we actually become a zero tariff territory. So actually, in terms of anything that we're importing, there'll be no tariff applied anyway. So the whole point of having to hold goods up on importing will actually not occur, because it's just zero tariff.
Well, I think you make some very good points. Were those the only points you wish to make, James?
Yes, they were.
Marvellous. I will move on. Thank you very much. Roger's in Windsor. Hello, Roger.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm rather excited by the fact that we're going to have possibly a Tory leadership contest, but that's something that gets me going, you see, and I'm just sad like that.
have planned to have words with her on Christmas Day when we will both be at the same place, and I will tell her exactly what I think of her.
Oh, will you? Oh, no. Well, is it going to be really bad? Because, I mean, Christmas Day, let her have a bit of peace and quiet on Christmas Day, for goodness sake.
I'm not convinced she deserves it, but there we are.
Come on, tell me where you're going to meet her. In church?
No. At a lunch.
Oh, I'm sorry, Roger. You cannot possibly have a go at the Prime Minister over lunch on Christmas Day and say horrible things to her.
Well, no, it wouldn't be horrible things. They'd just be some home truths.
No.
Anyway, that's by the by. What I really wanted to say was...
Just remember, Christmas time, mistletoe, that's all you need to remember about lunch.
Oh, no, I'm not taking it.
No, it doesn't sound like it, does it, to be fair? Go on.
No, what I was going to say was, we've obviously had all this Treasury predictions of doom, and again, from the Bank of England, Mark Carney jumping in the act. And what we have is exactly a rerun of 2 years ago, or 18 months ago. And of course, what's happened since is the economy's grown, we've got good growth this quarter, exports are rising, unemployment is down, employment is up, wage growth is higher than anybody ever expected, all in the expectation of Brexit. Okay, sterling has dropped in the last week, but that's because of the muddle in Parliament. And I think that if anybody looks at it sensibly, they can see that a no deal, moving out to trade on WTO, will be a massive benefit for this country within 2 or 3 years.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I think that anybody who says there wouldn't be some short-term problems is deluding themselves. So I fully accept that there would be, but I think in the long term, that it will be worth it. Thank you very much, Roger. Judith is in Yeovil. Hello, Judith.
Hello there.
Hi. What would you like to say?
Well, I'm very interested and pleased that the 48 votes have gone in. What concerns me a little bit is that the parliamentary party can narrow down the short list of candidates to 2. The parliamentary party are overwhelmingly Remainer, and I wonder what will happen if we don't get a Brexiteer in the final 2.
Well, I think it is entirely possible that the final 2 could turn out to be Sajid Javid and Amber Ross. And what would you make of that? Because Sajid Javid was, I think most people always considered him and voted Remain when he's voted
doing. She stitches up. I believed every single word she said all the way along, up until these last few days, and I've now come to realise she knew exactly what she was doing. She was waiting till it got after January, so there's nothing we could do about it. I think she stitched us up from day one, mate. She knew exactly what she was doing, exactly how she was playing it, and she lied through her back teeth to the lot of us.
You see, I understand why you think that. But I've known Theresa May for 15 years or so, and she's not a close friend or anything like that. In fact, I don't think she's got